November 19th, 2025, NVIDIA earnings just ended. Looks like NVIDIA is probably going to open with a pretty large gap up tomorrow. Earnings were positive. They had beats. Forward guidance looks good. Uh, and the market's repaired and we're going back to all-time highs. Just kidding. Uh, it is true that NVIDIA earnings were good and NVIDIA probably will open with a gap up. But let's take a look. It's set right now, if nothing changes by morning, to open around 195. So we look at this chart here. That basically puts us right here. Um, Nowhere near all-time highs or anything like that. What we're going to be looking for on NVIDIA is whether or not it can stay above this pile of price action right here below 191. So if it can stay above that, that might be a bullish sign for NVIDIA going forward. But if that fails and the gap closes, I think you can kiss the hopes of a market reversal back to the upside goodbye. And if we look over at SPY and QQQ charts right now, they are barely gapped up at the moment and still totally bearish. Even if we open on a gap up on SPY and QQQ tomorrow, even if there's a rally, a gap and go, we have this major level between 673.50 and 675 on SPY where sellers have picked up repeatedly over and over and probably will pick it up again. That would be the base case. So that's what I would be looking for at that level is for sellers to pick it back up, a lower high to be created, and for us to head back down and make new lower lows. Until we can get above that 675 level with a higher low, I would remain bearish. And as of right now, there are no signs of that. All gaps, of course, tomorrow, if if we probably will open with some gaps up. Use gap rules on that. If you don't have a set of gap rules, please visit my website. It's in the description. Click strategies, click gap rules, and there's some rules that I use there that you can use to learn from. They're not financial advice. Okay. So let's look at some ideas for tomorrow. Basically, we're SPY QQQ, any rallies, we're looking for rejections at the previous China high on SPY, that is 673.50 to 675 on QQQ, that is between 611.25 and 613.20. Okay. So, and on NVIDIA, we're looking for holds of 191 for it to be bullish at all. And if that level fails, probably back to a bearish stance. First idea I would like to take a look at is Netflix. All right. On Netflix, let me switch over to the daily chart. As you can see, we got all this overhead supply up above this 116.15 level. There was a previous attempt to rally to that level. It rejected. We started the process of a lower high. We got a little bit lower today. If we can get below our current lows and come down towards this previous all-time high at 106.15, that might be an area where buyers step in to pick it back up. If they do, I don't have a whole lot of faith in that because it's below the 20 SMA, the 50 SMA, and the 200 SMA. So I probably wouldn't jump on that. But if the level fails, sellers get below that level and we get a lower high below the level, I would absolutely be interested in going short to retrace some of this thin structure over here on the left-hand side targeting towards somewhere around $100, 125 cents. I like that trade, so that is definitely an only if and when that level fails. Next, Microsoft. On Microsoft, what I am looking for right now, it is kind of moving up after hours. So what I would have been looking for would have probably been a rally rejection of 488.75 at this point. Probably looking for a rejection or a lower high below 493.20 to go short. And then hoping to get below this 488.75 and retrace some of this thin structure to the downside down towards 480.75. Next one I want to take a look at is IWM. Trade idea that's kind of popped up a few times now. It is below a great deal of overhead supply. It has remained bearish. So essentially what I'm looking for is lower highs below 231.95. Any rallies to reject. Any rallies that do move upward, I'd look for rejections around 241.50 to go short. And on this lower highs below 231.95, there is thin structure over here to retrace, targeting 228.50, then 225.65, and then that would be a good place for a higher low on the weekly chart, since it is still technically in a weekly uptrend, I believe. Let me take a look at the weekly chart. Yeah, I mean, it could still make a higher low on the weekly chart easily. Next, I want to take a look at Tesla. Tesla has a bear flag I'm interested in. Kind of got this pole here, and then this somewhat of a bear flag here. I am basically looking for a breakdown below 396.70, lower high below. First target 386.25, next target 365. Then we're looking for buyers to pick it back up towards 365. Repeated idea over and over in videos all week long. I know it, but we're just waiting for it. Next trade I want to look at is Google. Google is bullish, one of the far and few. Yesterday, I did say any higher lows above 291.65. That absolutely happened today, and it did make it up to that previous overnight high of 298.90 and actually made it quite a bit further than that to 303.81. Let me add some levels here. There'll be a little mini level there. And now the all-time high. So what we're looking for on Google basically is a pullback retest of this previous all-time high, 291.65. If buyers can pick it up at 291.65, we get a higher low. I would probably be interested in going long at that level, back towards the upside. It's just deciding if I was going to add any more levels, but I think it's good with that. Next, I want to look at Disney. I did catch a short on Disney today, did pretty well with that. You know, we were looking for lower highs below 105. If you paid attention at all to Disney this week, it's done the same thing every day. After open, it rallies, then it rejects a level, and then comes back down. It's been rejecting this 107.55 pretty repeatedly. I've caught shorts off that pretty much every day. But it did close below the 105 level. I'm not too happy with this hammer candle here. It kind of makes me a little bit nervous that buyers, maybe it was just that people were closing shorts ahead in NVIDIA, and that's why it moved up. I really don't know. Regardless, it closed below the 105. And if you look at the daily chart, it looks fairly bearish. So what I'm looking for is any kind of rally rejections of 105. Sellers pick it back up at 105, create a lower high. I'll be looking to go back short. Hopefully it starts heading towards some of these gaps and stuff, closing that out. Uh, Final one I would like to take a look at, I suppose, is MU. Uh, so any rally rejections, sellers pick it up at 230.25 would be a great place to go back short. Heading back down towards 218, catch a lower high below that. We've got some thin structure to retrace over here on the left-hand side to the short side. Let's see what it's doing after hours, though. Yeah, I mean, as I figured, it's basically at the high of day right now. So let's say it opens there tomorrow. How could we play this out? Let me turn these back off. Oh, yeah. I mean, just any rally rejections of 230.25 lower high. I would look to go short on that. I mean, of course, obviously, I hope it goes without saying. We're only going short when SPY is also moving down. QQQ is also moving down. And I'm also watching quite frequently and consistently right now this chart in particular right here. I've just been watching it throughout the day on the 5-minute chart. It has been a wonderful indicator for what the majority of the market is going to do. And it's typically done it on this chart a little bit ahead of the market. So it's been pretty helpful to just kind of watch that along with market internals, along with, breaths, what's the up versus down ratio on volume, and what's ADD, what's tick, is tick trending down, is it up trending, what's the cumulative tick? If you don't know any of these things are, you can absolutely look in my description, go to my website and click on indicators and read about the different indicators I have that read market internals. You do not need those indicators that I do charge for in order to read market internals. I've just developed a way for them to be much easier for me to read. Rather than analyzing charts, I just got quick numbers I can look at and color coding, essentially. That is it. That's all I've got for today. Like, subscribe, follow for daily market analysis and trade ideas, as well as occasional strategy videos, etc. Have a good one. I'm out.